Hello everyone, today we will be looking at a recap again of the trades I took today. We'll also be looking at the trades I took yesterday since I couldn't make a video on that. We'll be going over how to use OSTDV, why I took some trades with gold back and paired with pretty much TAC, right? With our HTF analysis. Let's get right onto it right now. It's pretty simple. Today was a perma bullish, so this was a small win from yesterday, right? At the start of the day, I didn't wait for the OSTDV timings to to finish, so I took these two buys with no actual TP points since we are in all-time highs from that high onwards. So I was really just blindly going without any OSTDV, without anything really giving me a pattern for a set TP, right? So these two trades here, they were losses right there, right? Now if we go on the M15, we got right there, we have our previous cycle high plus the liquidity void right here, right? This would be our 15-minute liquidity void. Let's put it as an imbalance. Now go back on the 3-minute. We have the liquidity void plus the M15 breaker once it closes above this. Now the price give out a little bit of a displacement, retested into our M15 breaker, already filled up the liquidity void, retested into this breaker here for then higher prices. Now, once I saw a little bit of displacement and a CSD getting created, so I changed in state delivery here, but it's more like an order block for that example. Where's my CSD? So you have your M3 CSD right here. From what I remember, there was absorption. Where was the absorption again? Right here. So you had your absorption from that point on. So again, this is kind of like SMT, right? But it's based on cumulative volume delta. Now, if you have an absorption creating a lower low and the absorption, the CVD creates a higher high, higher low, you're trying to go in the opposite direction, right? You're trying to go for bullish prices. Now, once I saw that absorption, change of state delivery getting created, I didn't wait for a retest. I just took the trade right there. Stop loss at the 50% of that wick line here, right above it. Consequent encroachment of that wick and higher prices. So from that point on, our OSTDV was already was not exactly created for now. Price did give out a good displacement, and then once the OSTDV was was done, that's when I could have a set TP, because from that point until 2203, so until right here, I had no set TP. I was just going blindly. It swept the previous all-time high, so this was a pretty risky trade. I got lucky for hit TP like this, and it hit TP really nice. But we'll be looking at our OSTV now. So 19, right? 19 low, 21, so 2203 would be this low, right? At this high, 2203. Mark it out until 19. That would be our OSTDV. Now, my TP was at the micro SMR, as I said. In most days, you will have your high of day getting created in micro SMR. Now we had a high volume day, and the high was at the SMR partition. And you can use your quadrants inside of it, right? So this was your high of day. Okay. So SMR partition, high of day was in the SMR. Now micro SMR was used as, yes, the first TP for me. I did close the whole trade here since I really thought it wasn't going to go for higher prices, and we gave out a displacement lower. It was used as a retest, right? So retested here. We had, now we'll be going over a go back after that, but yeah, pretty much that's where I got an idea for a trade. Now in here, right in here, that trade was a little bit off the hooks for me. We came back into the micro SMR range, so I was expecting price to want to come back up to the SMR. Now I did not leave the trade until the SMR. I only left it until the X part of the micro SMR, as I had to go somewhere and I didn't want to let the risk on whilst I didn't have LTE or anything to stop the trade myself outside. We had an absorption right here, so this was an ABS, which is also why price decided to give out displacement higher from that point. Here I didn't have here I have my absorption right there. Absorption, retest into the tech candle, right? As always, you wanna be looking for tacks for high probability PD raise. So this was your tack retest. You also had this BPR right in here, right? BPR plus stack is always really good to have. So double entry, not double entry, but double confluence for higher prices, plus the absorption of price for higher prices. So displacement came in. Now, I was out at this point. I could have gotten some really good trades on the downside and upside. Wasn't there for that. When I came back, I had this setup coming in. So I came back at about this time. You had this order block, which was in line. If we take off the micro SMR and we put on our PO3 go back, where's our order block partition 0.11 to RB? You had this order block in that partition. Now price came back into our order block, rejected it. You had this fair value gap inside of the fair value gap partition plus BPR. So I waited for price to close higher, right? So right at this point, closed higher, came back into it, took my entry inside of the BPR for then higher prices. Now, I wasn't expecting price to go back to that high or that order block partition, even if it would have been a rejection block to breaker to fair value gap, to then opposite order block. It's because you had this OSTDV SMR to extreme, which is why in the previous videos I said that yes, the go back range is really good for entries and even for TP levels, but you need to remember that the go back range doesn't really calculate for price to get to a end of algo in the same day, right? Sometimes it can take 2 to 3 days. So for funded account traders, go back can be, yes, a golden tooth, but it can also be what decays it, right? Because if you get closed without your TP hitting, yes, it's not a problem if you're already in profits. But let's say the day finishes and you were expecting price to go to your TP and it just went and stayed in drawdown for the whole day, you're not winning on that one, you know? So OSTDV just really helps you know where price might want to stop. So here I have my TP at the 0.47, as price likes to not go to the EQ and just respect that level. And then yes, it's going to be a sweep area because it's not going to the actual EQ. But for that point in time, I just wanted to get a quick trade for end of day. Now, it was a pretty easy one. Just OSTDV SMR 0.47 from the go back range. Got the range, got the PD array from the order block right there. We retested a tack, we retested another tack, and we made this tack as a low. This was a bullish incentive for higher prices. Now, it's that easy, you know. For those trades, there was really nothing in depth all that much. It was just go back really helping with the trades. With the absorption here, you were also in the rejection block partition for higher prices, so you were in the discounted area of your go back range. Now, Right here, I do not think there was much in terms of gold back, but we will be looking at that. I didn't check gold back for that trade specifically. So yeah, there's not much. Well, we did have this 90-minute fair value gap inside of the fair value gap partition, so it could have been something to use. But in terms of TP, I don't know. I wouldn't have been using the go back for that one, and I did the right thing to not use it. It would have been confusing me. Now, if we go back to previous day trades, right? So these were 8.75, 6.01, and 3.05. Now, if we go back, yeah, these were supposed to be 893 and supposed to be 359. Got completely stopped out there. Not even a break even. These two were actual losses for me. This one was a loss also, complete loss. Would have been a 70.05. Never got to it, unfortunately, but would have been a really nice trade if I just let my stop loss a bit lower. Anyways, it happens. So 70.5 was a complete loss. Now, you come in here at that 6.75. What do we look at? We look at the OSTDV as always. So 19.03 to 22.03. This would have been the low. OSTDV. Mark that out. Coordinates. Just want those to go down. There. Perfect. 19. Alright. So pretty easy retracement level as my TP area. We managed to close under the OTE of OSTDV. So at that point, I was expecting bearish volume coming in. Just mark it out for the whole day. This is your OTE. Now, from that point on, got an entry in here because there was absorption. And you had a retest of this tag candle, right? So tag candle retest with the previous candle. Waited for a small absorption between these three candles, and then took an entry. That was an aggressive entry. It was not a conservative entry, okay? So this was something I took low risk because I was not expecting it to be going the right way for me, okay? So this was a pretty lucky trade, 6.75 at retracement. Now, next trade here was a pretty easy one, just a retest of the tag again. Bullish breaker. Let's see if we had any absorption. There was absorption between this low and this one. So absorption, higher prices. Now TP at next retracement. Price didn't close at SB on that day. It hovered around here. I think it would have been OTE of that. Yeah, so OTE area of the SB and retracement would have been a high of day on that day. But yeah, that happens sometimes. It doesn't go to micro SMR or even LV. It just stopped between the retracement and SB. Now that's retracement to retracement model, as I said in a previous video about this OSTDV. If you reject the retracement, you're most likely going to the next. So here I kept that in my mind. This sell stopped it. Didn't take anything here. Now once time and price were aligning for the model, took this really small trade, super easy, you know, like nothing too complicated on that part. Sometimes I do go a little bit more in depth with my analysis, but on that part there really was nothing all that dangerous. So here, rejection block, came back into this fair value gap and breaker inside of the fair value gap partition, which is in between those two lines, and price decided to skyrocket above the EQ and stopped at next breaker partition, right? So it's really nice for that one, super easy. Now for this one, again, really easy one. Time and price were aligning in here. You had this tack breaker. This tack breaker. Took a trade in there. You had this fair value gap in line with the tack. The hippo block also in line for then lower prices. Took this trade. Stop loss right above here, above this last fair value gap that I was not expecting price to come back to. And if we look at our TP level, we came back to our M partition. Right? Because we were expecting, if price does want to come back into the Asia range, what does it like to do? It likes to hover around the magnet, which is our OTE. Decided to go for lower prices after the OTE. My stop loss was at this level right here, right? I don't know if you see the pink line, but that pink line was my stop loss at this point in time. Once price touched the OTE, I was not expecting price to go for the lower prices, so I was putting my stop loss at that point. So yeah, extremely easy on that part. Now for this trade, I'm not gonna lie, I think I took this trade just before going to sleep on my phone, which is why the stop loss is pretty damn not tight. I just didn't want to get stopped out during the night. I took the trade super aggressive. Well, you could say conservative, but more like idiocy, I'd call it. As I took the trade during the move, I didn't wait for any retracement. I just wanted the day to be over, right? This fair value gap got inversed, the one from the fair value gap partition of go back for then higher prices. The new tack, yes, made a new high, but it also retested inside of the consequent encroachment of this one. So I was not expecting price to go for lower prices during the sequence, even though it was a tack high. Now, for the TP again, I just put it at the most recent high right here. I wasn't expecting much out of that. I wasn't expecting a big move until the all-time highs, though it did give that. But yeah, it's just an example of OSTDV. I just wanted y'all to know. These two are losses I got. Well, this one trade is a loss I got whilst I was outside. Also a trade I took on my phone. Wasn't there to manage the trade, wasn't there to minimize the risk, so got stopped out right there. End of day also, so this was a high risk. I do not recommend trading high of day. Not high of day, but end of day. But yeah, y'all have a really great night, really great day. Just wanted y'all to understand how the OSTDV works. Just go back to it a little bit. I'll make some more videos if I do. If I don't really have the other indicators coming for now. But yeah, I'll do some more examples on OSTDV in the future with the trades I'm taking with it, so that it's easier visually for you all to assimilate the information instead of just me showing whatever the fuck happened with the OSTDV without ever taking it into execution, you know, because it's pretty what's the word in English, because I speak French for for y'all's information, but the word would be well, I can't remember. But to me, people who show concepts without ever showing the experience they got from it or the trades that they got from it is kind of a bummer, you know, because it's way more different when you just backtest it than when you actually took live trades with them, and that you can explain exactly what your train of action was during that time after the fact, because you can give an actual insight to what happened on that day instead of just going backtesting a random day and going super fast with it, because it's just another day that you can fast forward through, you know, whilst these trades are things that took time, you know, took patience, and it took your you know, you had the time to do your technical analysis instead of being on the back testing, and you take 5 minutes a day to do your back test. So yeah, just wanted y'all to see that clearly. Y'all have a good day. Y'all have a good year, a good month, however the fuck y'all want to do it.